Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. I am Rabbi Scott Kramer. Shabbat Shalom and Happy Hanukkah to all of you. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Hanukkah and filled with light in this darkness of ours. And thank you for joining me this evening. Just a note, we will, 1 week from tonight, we will be in person live as well as online. So if you are vaccinated and wear a mask and are socially distanced in our vast, large sanctuary, it's not going to be a problem moving around or separating ourselves. You are welcome to come into our synagogue once again, beginning next Friday night, and of course Saturday, Monday, and Thursday as well. Havdalah, however, will still be only on Zoom, at least for now. So with that, we will go ahead and begin our service. We are praying out of Siddur Lev Shalem. And we will begin on page 5 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 10. Yedid nefesh avarachaman mishoch avdach eritzonach yarutz avdach kemo ayal yishtachaveh emul adarach Ki erav lo yedidutach minofet suf vechol ta'am hadorna ezi ivaolam nafshi cholat avatach anoelna Refanala biharod la noam zivach az titchazek v'titrape v'hayatalach shivchat olam v'tigemura chamecha V'chusna al beno havach ki ze kama nichsof nichsaf lirot b'tiferet uzach anayli machmad libi tchushana v'yalti talam Igalena afros chaviv alai et sukat shelomach ta'ir eretz מכבודך נגילה ונשמחה בך, מה אהוב כי במועד וחדדי כי מעולם. יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה 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 יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה 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 יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה 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 יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה 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 Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. We continue with Lechuna Ranana. Psalm 95, page 11. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Nariya, nariya, letzur yishenu, nekad mafana betoda. Nariya, nariya, letzur yishenu, bizmirot nariya lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Nariya, nariya, letzur yishenu, nekad mafana betoda. Nariya, nariya, letzur yishenu, bizmirot nariya lo. We continue together in the English. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector, filled with thanks. Let us greet God, raising our voice in song. Great is Adonai, a greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands formed the earth's deep. Mountain crests too are God's work. The sea is God, for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hands. Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai who formed us. For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands. If only you would listen today to God's voice and not become hard-hearted like the people at Merivah, like that time at Massah in the desert, when your ancestors tried me and tested me, though they had seen what I had wrought. For 40 years I was troubled by that generation, and I said, these are a people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my way, so in anger I swore they would not enter my rest. 40 שנה כות בדור ואומרם טועה לבבם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ויפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. Page 13, Psalm 96. Ashiru ladonai shir chadash, shiru ladonai kol haaretz, shiru ladonai baruch shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru vagoyim gevodo, bechol ha'amim nifliotov, ki gadol Adonai, umehulal miyod. No ra'u Hauko Elohim lai 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 Kiko Elohe Amim Elilim V'Adonai Shamayim Asa Hod V'Hadar Lefanav Oz V'Tiferet B'Mikdasho Havu L'Adonai Mishpachot Amim Havu L'Adonai Kavod V'Oz Havu L'Adonai Kevod Shemo Seu Mincha Uvaho lechatzorot of Laila, Shtachavu Ladonai, Behadrat Kodesh, Chilum Mipanav Kol Haaretz, Imrum Vagoyim, Adonai Malach, Avtikum Tevel Balatimo, Yadinam Bemei Sharim, Yismechu Hashamayim V'tagil Haaretz, Ayiram Mayamu Melo, Yalo Sadai, V'chol asher bo Laila, Aziranu Kolat Seyar, Lifnei Adonai Kiva, Lishpot Aretz, Ishpot Tevel B'tzedek, V'yamim B'emunato, Yalai Lalai, Yalai Lalai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai. Psalm 97, page 15. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice. Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine. Righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about. Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth. The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory. Worshippers of idols be shamed for praising false gods. All that is deemed supreme bow before God. Zion hears of it and rejoices. The cities of Judah exult as you, Adonai, pass judgment. You, Adonai, are above all that is earthly, exalted over all that is worshipped as divine. Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the lives of the faithful, saving them from the hands of the sinful. Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name. Or zaru ala tzadik ul Yisrael ev simcha, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hoduhu lezecher kadeshohu. Page 17, Psalm 98. Mizmor shiru ladonai shir chadash, ki niflot asa hoshia lo yimino. Uzaro akod shoadia Adonai Yeshuato, le'ena goyim gilat tzidkato, zachar chasto ve'emunato, levei Yisrael ra'u cholav se'aretz, et Yeshuat Eloheinu horiu l'Adonai kol haaretz, bitzchum ve'ranenu v'zameru, zamru l'Adonai bechinor v'kol zimara, b'chatzot rod v'kol shofar, horiu lifnei HaMelech Adonai, yiram mayam u'meloho, tevel v'yosh ve'va, neharot yimcha uchaf, Yachad arim niranenu, lifnei Adonai kiva, lishbot aretz, yishbot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim b'meisharim, yalai, yalai, lalalai, lalalai, yalai, lalai, lalalai, yalai, lalai, lalalai, lalalai, yalai, lalai, lalalai, lai, 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 Yalai la lai la lai lai, yalai la lai la lai 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 lai, yai lai lai la lai 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 lai, yai lai. We continue on page 19 with Psalm 99. Adonai reigns, nations tremble. The one enthroned amidst the cherubim makes the world quake. Adonai is great in Zion above all nations. They shall acknowledge your name, saying, Great, awe-inspiring Holy One. A sovereign's strength lies in the love of justice, and you forge the paths of truth, judging Jacob righteously and justly. Exalt Adonai our God, bow down before God the Holy One. Moses and Aaron among God's priests, and Samuel among those who called upon the divine name, called to you, and you answered them. You spoke to them from amidst the cloud. They kept your covenant and the law you gave them. You answered them, Adonai, our God. You were a forgiving God to them, even as you punished them for their transgressions. Exalt Adonai, our God, and bow down at God's holy mountain, for Adonai, our God, is holy. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu la'ar kadosho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. We rise, if you are able, page 21, Psalm 29. Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod vos, havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el kavod hirim Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'koach, kol Adonai behadar, kol Adonai shover arazim, vayshaber Adonai et al zehalvanon, vayarkidem kemo egel, Lebanon v'Sirion kemo ven reimim, kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai yecholeo ayalo, vayechesov yachod, uvehechalo kulo merkavod, Adonai lamabul yashav, yeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. You may be seated. We continue with Lechadudi, page 23. Lecha dodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmi'anu elam yuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'liti la lecha. Dodi lekrat kalam p'nei Shabbat nikabela, lekrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekora biracha merosh mikedem nesucha, sov maaseh b'machshvat chila lecha. Dodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela, mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzei mitocha hafecha ravlach chevet biyemek abacha v'hu yachamohu alaychem la lecha dodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela, hidnahari me'afar kumi livshevik de tifartecha mi ayad ben yishai beit alachmi karva el nafshi geyala. Lecha dodi lekrat kalam p'nei Shabbat nikabela, hitoreri kiva ore kumi ore shir daberi kivod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela, Lecha dodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela, lo tevoshi v'lo tikami ma tishtochachi u'ma temi bach, yechesu ani yami v'nivnata ir al tila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela, v'hayu l'mshisa Shahawasayich v'rachaku kol mivalayich, yasis alayich Elohayich, kim chatan al kala. Lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela yamin usmoti frotzi v'yet Adonai taritzi ayarish ben parti v'nismecha v'nagila lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela. We rise as we greet the Shabbat bride by facing towards the west. Boi v'shalom aterepala gam besimcha uvetzala toch emunai aham segula boi chala lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabila. You may be seated. Page 27. Psalm 92. Mizmor shir li'om HaShabbat Tov lahodot l'Adonai Tov lahodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Tov lahodot l'Adonai Tov lahodot l'Adonai Tov lahodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Tov lahodot l'Adonai lehagid baboker chastecha Lehagid baboker chastecha Vemunatcha baleilot O tov lahodot l'Adonai Lehagid baboker chastecha Lehagid baboker chastecha Vemunatcha baleilot Vemunatcha baleilot Tov lahodot l'Adonai. Tzadikatamar yifrach Ki erez balvanon yiske shetulim Beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu Od yenuvon beseva Deshenim verhananim yeyu lehagid Ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabo. Page 29, Psalm 93. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you were enthroned, you are eternal. The rivers rise up, Adonai, the rivers raise up their roar. The rivers raise up their waves. Above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens. In your house, beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure for all time. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Hanukkah. I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday. Just a couple housekeeping items. Next week, next Friday night, we are opening for in-person services for those that are vaccinated. And we just ask that you wear a mask and are socially distanced. So we need to all be safe when we're in each other's presence. But you are welcome to come to the synagogue, to our brand new synagogue that most of you probably haven't seen, the redesigned synagogue. So you're welcome to come and enjoy services in our large sanctuary. Plenty of space to spread out. So that's beginning next Friday night, which will then continue on Saturday morning at 9:30 and Monday and Thursday at 7:15. All open. Hopefully we can stay that way this time. Just a note about tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening, our Havdalah program will be a Havdalah / Hanukkah program. So we will light Hanukkah candles together after Havdalah on Zoom. And then we will be showered with a Hanukkah concert by all of those that bring you Havdalah each week. It should be really a lot of fun. So I invite you to come tomorrow night and be part of that. This week, Jews throughout the entire world are spinning dreidels, little tops with letters that spell out 4 Hebrew words, Nes Gadol Hayasham, and which means a great miracle happened there. In Israel, the dreidels have a slightly different formulation, Nes Gadol Haya Po. A great miracle happened here. Each night as we light Hanukkah candles, and tonight is the 6th night, as you can see, we say a blessing thanking God for doing miracles for our fathers and for forefathers and foremothers in those days and in our own day. And at every service throughout the festival, we add a paragraph in the Amidah and in Birkat HaMazon, Al Hanisim, for the miracles. Last year I talked about the miracle of Hanukkah and how that miracle was not always the same as what we grew up with. Originally, the Hanukkah story was about a totally natural historical event. There was no story of God changing the laws of nature by making oil burn unnaturally. To drive home this point, let us turn to another post-Torah festival, which Jews will celebrate in a few more months, Purim, at almost to the spring. Once again, we will say a blessing to God for doing miracles for our forefathers and mothers in those days and in our own day. And once again, we add a paragraph, Al Hanisim, for the miracles to our prayers. What are the miracles? What is the miracle of Purim? The book of Esther, which tells the Purim story, does not even mention God. It is a book about the heroic action of Mordechai and his niece Esther, who became the queen. The whole story is simply history. Where was God's intervention? Where was the miracle? Perhaps it is time to rethink our definition of miracles. We tend to see a miracle as an extraordinary event which cannot be explained by natural laws. God parts the waters of the Sea of Reeds. God makes the sun stand still in the book of Joshua. Or God makes a little oil last 8 days. We see a miracle as an amazing event which neither science nor history can explain. It is as if God interferes with God's own laws, and that is extremely problematic. We need to redefine the word miracle. The Hebrew word for miracle is nes, which has another meaning, and it means banner. A miracle is not some magical event. It is more like a banner which waves and which we can see. A natural or historical event takes place. We can explain it, but if we look carefully, we can say that this is the hand of God. This idea of the hand of God behind the scenes is also in our Torah portion for this week, which we always read during Hanukkah, called Miketz. And we are in the second part of the Joseph narrative. Joseph has been sold to the Egyptians by his brothers, and he runs into a bit of a problem with his master's wife, and he winds up in prison. And in our Torah portion this week, Joseph is rescued from prison and becomes the second most powerful man in Egypt. He is able to rescue his brothers, the same brothers who were ready to sell him into slavery. A series of natural historical events separates and then reunites the brothers. Yet Joseph will say to his brothers, "So it was not you who sent me here, but God. God is at work behind the scenes." A miracle is a totally natural event. It is a miracle of nature. If it is a miracle of nature, such as a parting of the sea, the laws of science can explain it. If it is a historical miracle, such as Hanukkah or Purim, historians can explain it. It becomes a miracle when a person of faith looks at the event and sees the hand of God. A miracle is an event that points toward a greater reality, a consciousness beyond the physical or material world. Abraham Isaac Heschel came running into a lecture hall and explained, "I just saw a miracle." Having gotten everyone's attention, someone asked what the miracle was. He said that he had just witnessed a sunset. On Hanukkah, may we learn to look out at the world and declare, a great miracle happened here. Shabbat Shalom. We will continue our service with Ma'ariv. Please turn to page 39a, and we rise for the Baruch Hu, call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Avoed. You may be seated. We continue with the second paragraph on 39b. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space. You completed your work of creation on the seventh day, calling this day from one evening to the next the holy Shabbat, and gave this day of rest in all its holiness to your people Israel. Creator of day and night, rolling light before darkness and darkness from light, making day pass and bringing on the evening, distinguishing day from night. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Living and ever-present God, may your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. O Mahavir Yom Umevi Laila, Mavdil Ben Yom Uvein Laila, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimlo Chaleinu Lam Voed Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari V'Aravim, page 40. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amchavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadta al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachveinu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובאו הם מנהגי יומם ולילה, ויעבדך תשים ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך והיה אם שמעו תשמעו אל מצותי אשר אנוכי. היה לכם דברים Kimashim hearts. Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor daber b'nei Yisrael v'yamarta lehem v'yasu lehem tzitzit al kanfei v'gdehem ledoratam v'natnu al tzitzit akana petil tacheleh v'haya lachem letzitzit oritem hoto u'zchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam V'lo tatu racharei levavchem v'acharei nechem asher tem zonim achareihem leman dizgaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kadoshim leloechem ani Adonai Eloechem asher hotzeiti etachem me'eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 43b. You proclaimed the covenant on the seventh day. You declared it and decreed it. We listened and heard it. You loved this day we inherited, delighting in its remembrance, and began its command with the word remember. Zachor. From the time you bestowed it, joy filled the hearts of Jeshurun, the people you redeemed, securing the cause of righteousness. You exalted Shabbat as a sign between us forever. In 6 days your world was formed. On the seventh day you rested. And on this day, Israel, your people, rest. To honor your name, they sing songs of praise to the one deserving of praise. Page 44. ומלכותו ברצון כי בעליהם משה ובני ישראל נשירה בשמחה רבה וימחו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדור בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך ובניך בו קיים לפני משה זה לי ענו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלעד מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 45. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו למען שמך. ושמרצתנו בין לחיים ושלומייתה ויד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. We rise if you're able, page 46. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. We rise for the silent Amidah for Friday night, pages 47 through 52. מודים אנחנו לך. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imau, amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. May be seated. On the holiday of Hanukkah, we add this paragraph. And the first verse has a tune that I grew up with. Al hanisim v'yal hapurkan v'yal hagvurot v'yal hatshuot v'yal hamilchamot she'asita lavotenu bayamim ha'em bazman hazeh. Al hanisim v'yal hapurkan v'yal hagvurot v'yal hatshuvot v'yal hamilchamot she'asita lavotenu bayamim ha'em bazman hazeh. For the miracles, for the deliverance, for the victories, for the triumphs, and for the battles you fought for our ancestors in those days and at this time. In the days of Mattathias, son of Yochanan, a Hashmonaim, the high priest, and in the days of his sons, when the cruel Greek kingdom rose to rule over your people Israel, demanding that they forget your Torah and violate the way of life you desired for them. You, in your great mercy, stood by your people in their time of trouble. You fought their battles, championed their cause, avenged their wrongs. You delivered the strong into the hands of the weak, the many into the hands of the few, the impure into the hands of the pure, the evildoers into the hands of the righteous, the arrogant into the hands of those engaged with your Torah. Thus your name was glorified and made holy in your world and Israel. Your people achieved deliverance and a great victory, as is our wish for our own day. Afterward, your children entered the Holy of Holies, emptied your house of idols, purified your sanctuary, kindled lights in your sacred courts, and set aside these 8 days of rededication to give thanks and to celebrate your great name. We continue, we rise as the ark is opened, page 56, for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gedula liotzer bereshit shalo asanu kugoyei aratzot velo samanu kamishmachot adama shalo sam chelkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim v'Yosed Haaretz, U'Moshe v'Yikaro b'Shamayim ima'al, U'Shchinatu zo b'gavei meromim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Evazulato, Kakatu b'Torato v'Yadat Hayam v'Hashivota elavavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim mimahal v'al haaretz mi tachat ein od al kein nikvel Adonai Eloheinu. Yagadu b'doratecha Adonai imloch le'olam v'ho'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom mahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. This week we will observe yard sites for Chaim Musafir, Jacob Rudnick, Saul Bruchus, Ethel Raymond, Phil Stern, Sarah Ray Berlin, Fanny Fleischman, Ann Rose Behrman, Sam Brenner, Eli Kapoya, Phyllis Daniels, Rachel Moon, Victoria G. Capilouto, Aaron Aronov, Rose Elizabeth Baker, David Brenner, Lillian K. Ginsberg, Isidore Steinberg, Rosa Abramson, Edward Klein, Joseph Fleischman, and Ina Orange. Those observing yard site and those who mourn, please rise and join me, page 58, for the Kaddish Shatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayichon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimaru amen, Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei maya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha b'richu, La'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'yoma v'imaru amen, Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru amen. You may be seated. Thank you for joining me, for joining us for Kabbalat Shabbat, and for this wonderful Shabbat that coincides with Hanukkah, also the new month, because the new month always occurs on this Shabbat. In fact, there are only 2 times a year where on Saturday morning we take 3 Torahs out of the ark, and Shabbat Hanukkah is one of them. Now, we're not going to take 3 Torahs out of the ark, at least not this year. Next year, maybe. Shabbat services will continue tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. online. Join us tomorrow evening for our weekly Havdalah service put on by the Alabama Community Virtual Havdalah, and we are combining that with a Hanukkah celebration. So we will say Havdalah, we will light the Hanukkah candles together, and then we will have Hanukkah music by all of those who put on this wonderful program each week. If you would like to attend and have not gotten the Zoom link, please email me, rabbi@agudathmontgomery.com, and I will be more than happy to get that to you. And Elaine Kirkpatrick says the Sisterhood Hanukkah Luncheon is this Sunday at Sturbridge Clubhouse at 12:30. Thank you for that, Elaine. I'm glad I was able to mention that. Next week, on Friday night, we will once again be welcoming all of our congregants to attend services in person. It's going to be strange for me to actually see people in the seats. We only did that for about 3 weeks in July, but more or less for the last 17 months or so, I have been talking to a physically empty sanctuary, but a very full and spiritually complete online presence. We will still remain online, so don't worry if you don't feel comfortable coming into the building yet, or you live too far away, we will still be online. Let me see if there was anything I missed, because there usually is. Thank you for reminding me about that, Elaine. And also in your bulletin, which was emailed to you, if you read my article, there's also an advertisement in the bulletin. The synagogue is going to be participating in a synagogue retreat at Camp Ramah Darom, which is in Clayton, Georgia, in the mountains of northern Georgia, about an hour and a half north of Atlanta or so. This is going to be February 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's a Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to have a Shabbaton at Camp Ramah, and we will be in retreat with congregation conservative congregation in Chattanooga and a Jewish congregation in Greensboro, North Carolina. I think there might be, well, actually, there are other groups within those two cities, not just the synagogue. The Jewish Federation of Greensboro is going to be joining us, and I believe a youth group. I can't remember. Oh, no, it's a Jewish day school in Greensboro, I believe, that's going to be joining us. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You can't beat the price, okay? The cost is $175 a person for the whole weekend, and thanks to the generosity of Gerald Leibovitz, half of that is being subsidized. So the cost to you is about $85 for 3 days of fun, music, prayer, and the food at Ramah is the best. It is absolutely wonderful. We'll also probably do, after Havdalah, I think they're going to have a bonfire for Havdalah. And then I think they're going to do karaoke like they did the last time we were at this retreat. So go online at ramahdarom.org/shmooze. They're calling it the Southern Shabbat Shmooze. You can register online. If you look in the bulletin, there's a code you put in to get the discount for half off. And I would love to see all of you come with us, okay? You don't have to live in Montgomery to go. If you are attending the service, you may come with us. So, and again, that's February 4th to 6th, 2022, and Ramah Darom, Camp Ramah Darom in Clayton, Georgia. So, with that, we will go ahead and conclude our service. Page 211 with Adon Olam. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa v'chefso kol hazai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nara Adon Olam v'hu haya v'hu oveh v'hu yeh b'tifara Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa v'chefso kol hazai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam v'hu echad v'yein sheni laham shelo lahachbira Adon Olam b'li reshit b'li tachlit v'lo v'hamisra Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa v'chefso kol hazai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam V'hu Eli v'chai goali v'tzorchev li b'yetzara adon olam V'hu nisi umanosli minat kosi b'yomikra adon olam Asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa v'chefso kol Azay melech shemo nikra adon olam Biyado afkid ruchi B'yetishan v'yaira adon olam V'maruchi geviyati Adon oli v'lo ira adon olam Asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa v'chefso kol Azay melech shemo nikra adon olam. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Hanukkah to everyone. There was a comment that some people didn't get the email bulletin. The bulletin is always available from our website. I'll make sure that Tina puts the December bulletin up on our website so that you can get it from there. Shabbat Shalom. Hanukkah